This is Orion. I'm going to talk about Justice League, the Snyder Cut trailer. Hopefully everyone's done with their random takes on Justice League. I'm going to try to have some takes that maybe you didn't hear about. I'm going to talk about maybe some business, some actual production stuff, and just stuff that really frustrates me. So let's see how mad I get at the theatrical cut while I watch this all over again. I've seen it before, obviously, but I just want to get this out.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord.
I'm pausing it immediately. How the fuck do you cut Darkseid? Are you gonna cut Thanos out of the movie? You're insane. If you have Darkseid in a script, you don't delete the motherfucker. Include every single fucking second of them that you have. Especially when you have someone like Ray Porter doing the voice. A beautiful design by Zack Snyder. Again, this is not full Darkseid. It is Uxas. It's blasphemy to not include Darkseid. Just to start off, I want to talk about the aspect ratio. The aspect ratio that he's using is the full aperture for the IMAX camera. He's using the full celluloid film square that the IMAX camera gives him. So this is literally the largest image that you could possibly get on a film camera. Great directorial decision. The fact that he brought in Fabian Wagner, and Fabian Wagner just kind of went with it, did the work. They did a multi-camera shoot this time around. Zack Snyder himself does cinematography. We've seen the behind-the-scenes footage of him doing that. And also Fabian Wagner is his official cinematographer for this. If you tell me that I'm going to shoot as much IMAX film as possible in full aperture for the next 6-7 months for a Justice League movie, I know damn well as a cinematographer that IMAX camera is going to weigh 60, 70, 80 pounds, plus all the stuff they put on it, whatever the lens is. Basically, you have at least 60 pounds on your shoulder, handheld. You probably have a million things to do. You have to worry about these reels just running out constantly. It's just a huge deal to film this in IMAX, to make that decision. Hauling around a 70-pound camera for 6-7 months to finish this film and then not use any of it? Absolutely preposterous. Alright, that was just one shot. Let's see how far we get through this.
That David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this, the fourth,
This shot of Wonder Woman, number one, absolutely beautiful. Number two, it's kind of the perfect example of what you can do with framing that is, not usually used. Fabian Wagner and Zack Snyder did the work to not only say, hey, we're going to shoot it in this cool aspect ratio, they're framing from the beginning every single shot for this new composition that they're going to have to deal with for the entire production. I don't know what happened as far as the final product and cutting and cropping and all that stuff and reshoots. It's very interesting, and I honestly don't know why they would get rid of something that's such a specific decision.
the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
I have to talk about the black suit. Zack Snyder talked about how the Warner Brothers suits were just not having it as far as bringing in the black suit practically. So he just kind of left it alone. They had done some changes to the suit that made it a little bit more, contrasty, so they can work with the darks and the lights and stuff. You can see actually in the behind the scenes, the suit itself is actually laid over a silver reflective under padding that they have, which makes the suit kind of stretch over and it looks more reflective, which gives you that nice shine and chrome detail when you see it. But it's using that change in the practical suit that allowed them to really get the colors, the black and the silver and the shine, just how they wanted it. I think it looks great. Should have never been deleted. It's canon. It's only the most sold comic book of all time, The Death of Superman. To bring back Superman not in the imagery of the most popular thing that DC has ever made is dumb. It looked real cool. Obviously it was super rough previs. Seeing it here final It looks beautiful. The color palette looks awesome. Flash's lightning, it's not some like CGI effect that just kind of auto-generate. They hand animate all of the lightning on the screen all the time just to make it that much more artistic. Very sentimental stuff with, it looks like he's saving Iris. Apparently she's not coming back for the Flash movie. They said that they might be recasting her, but that was before we actually got a Snyder Cut trailer.
I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you.
Aquaman, fully support Jason Momoa in here. I like that Zack Snyder's casting isn't one way or another. He's just casting characters in his world, what he thinks would be kind of a cool idea. Zack Snyder's plan is always just like, is it cool enough? The reason that I wanted to stop here is because his look is very, very hard to achieve with hair, makeup. Continuity supervisor probably had the hardest time with this type of look. The cut in the eyebrow, the long hair kind of highlights, tattoos all over his body. It's a very specific look. Also the contacts in his eyes, he's got like shark eyes. It's really hard to maintain. I don't see why anyone would ever want to do reshoots and try to recreate this look months later with a different team. It does not look good. They kind of overdid his look in the theatrical cut. It also doesn't help with all of the green screen shots behind him. It really just makes him look kind of out of place. Looks a lot more natural in this color palette. It looks like he just is this guy. And that really bright color palette in the theatrical cut, it just doesn't work. I mean, he's still cool because it's Jason Momoa, but it looks like he's trying so hard to be something that he's just not. Here, it just looks like this is the guy. He's just this guy. I like Amber Heard. I don't know what's going on with her. Right now, currently, there's rumors saying that they're going to start production for Aquaman 2 soon, and that she actually is included in the cast. I don't mind. I think, personal stuff is personal. I think your work on screen kind of, it's your work on screen. You're going to work. It's not a big deal to continue with Amber. And honestly, I think a lot of people just don't really care. Listen, I'm a fan of Johnny Depp. I'm kind of on his side. I've seen all this stuff. I don't want to get that into it. I like Johnny Depp. I just don't think people care that much or think that they should. Fucking Desaad. I cannot believe that I'm able to stare at an image of Desaad on screen right now. Beautiful rendering of Desaad. Super Snyder VFX to create it. Shout out to Grace Randolph. She mentioned that the cool stuff on his collar is actually kind of like knowledge that he's collected over different universes, and they're like books. So he has his books, infinite knowledge of other galaxies and stuff is on his collar. I thought that was a really cool idea, very apocalyptic concepts, and Desaad looks so ugly and evil. It's perfect. Cyborg, struggling, something's going wrong. His apocalyptic technology probably fighting his body somehow. Is it Desaad? I don't know, probably. It's implied, it's the shot right before. Or is it just the technology itself is just trying to take over? Is it just a natural thing with that technology? But the biggest thing that I want to take away from here, Flash is in the background. Flash is worried. Flash is new to making friends. Just seeing the worry, even though he doesn't know this guy, he's so worried about him. He's ready to do whatever his new friend needs, but he sees that this battle isn't something that he can really help with. This is something that's internal, an internal conflict that Cyborg is gonna have to deal with. And Flash is there at any moment for him to help, but this is something that Cyborg has to go through on his own. This is probably my favorite shot out of the whole thing. Just the image of Superman floating above the cityscape. It's just such a beautiful image. Pretend it's not a Superman movie. Pretend it's not a Justice League movie. Just the imagery of a man flying. It's so strong an image. Absolutely beautiful. To us, the audience, seeing a man flying in the sky, even though he's so small in the frame and, you can't really distinguish who it is, we, as fans, know who it is, and having Lois Lane in this reaction shot, knowing who it is, and knowing what he means to her in the grander scope of things is really beautiful. In the theatrical cut, there is, I dare say, a similar shot. Also, Superman's resurrection. He bursts out of the Kryptonian ship, and he's in his sweats and he's shirtless, and it's obviously like a CGI recreation of Henry Cavill just flying above, and he kind of floats away really awkwardly. It looks terrible. The color saturation in that shot is so annoying. Everything's so bright, and it's like, dude, stop. It's also this like terribly bad like CGI recreation of Henry Cavill that just does not move right, doesn't move like a human being. I think Zack Snyder's choreography team, special effects team, worked really hard on making a Superman's flight really like believable, really cool and smooth, and still kind of obeying some type of like, you know, rationality, not necessarily physics, but just, you know, kind of makes sense in your mind. That movement in the theatrical version does not work at all. They paid like no attention to whatever they had. So the stillness of this image, this shot, really goes a long way. It's perfect. And this is where I'm gonna get really mad. If I was Ray Fisher, I would sue everyone. I know he's mentioned some stuff about, you know, Joss Whedon being abusive on set. He's included John Berg in that. He's a producer. If you put me on a set with this also a very accomplished actor, I believe his name is Joe Morton. If you put me in a scene with him, he's playing my dad. He's dying on screen. He's, you know, he's going in. And I'm supposed to like, you know, cry my eyes out. My dad is dying on screen as a sacrifice, and the villain of the entire movie is just standing right behind me. It's this incredible scene that takes so much work and so much out of the actors there, as well as everyone else on set. To not include that is a complete fucking insult to Ray Fisher, his work, his potential. Absolutely appalling. This is probably the biggest case for what I think Ray Fisher's main complaint should be as far as the treatment of his character and the erasure of his work. It's stuff like this that is so strong, so resonant, really took a lot of time for people to produce something of this quality. Not just him, not just the people on screen again. I'm talking about makeup artists, the lighting in the room, the CGI people, you know, doing all the markups that they have to do on the set. To ignore all of that work, to summarily, completely erase the background of his character that's supposed to be the main thrust of this story, it's a complete insult to the work of, you know, hundreds of people that were probably on set that day, as well as the actors that mean a lot to the audience. In this case, Ray Fisher. Does it really change your story that much to include something that was in the script? I think that Jason Momoa can also be kind of thrown in there as far as the disregard for his work. So much being reshot. Apparently there's like deleted scenes here that we see where he kind of refuses the armor and the quindent from his family first, the actual backstory of all of that. So I think Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, and whoever is playing the Atom fell into that hole of complete erasure by Joss Whedon and whoever asked for those notes. Zack Snyder's action bits are awesome, because of course they are. I like the Steppenwolf design. It looks like a real intergalactic technology and armor. It looks related to Cyborg's design, which is what it's supposed to be, because they're both apocalyptic in origin. So it makes sense, not like the weird armor that we saw in the theatrical version for Steppenwolf, which makes no sense. Seeing Superman in a black suit just punching the shit out of Steppenwolf, it's a dream. These images of Flash are awesome. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he just entered the Speed Force or if there's an explosion and he's like vibrating at a different frequency so it doesn't hurt him. Whatever's going on, it just looks beautiful. Yes, it does remind me of the Flashpoint Paradox ending where the universe that he's trapped in or created starts kind of disappearing because World War III started between the Amazons and the Atlanteans, and they did like a super nuke using, what is it, the Atom? No, not the Atom. Forgot his name. Whatever. You can put his name wherever it is. You guys know the story. You guys know Flashpoint. Everybody knows Flashpoint. That's like the only story any Flash person ever knows. We know for a fact that in the theatrical version, Ezra Miller's legs are not real. Apparently, he's not the greatest runner in the world. Basically, his body is real from like torso up, and from his hips down, it's a completely CGI replacement of his legs, which is why it looks weird. He has no weight to him at all in that theatrical cut. It literally just looks like he's running on a damn treadmill, which is what he's doing, but it shouldn't look like that's what he's doing. It should look like he's at least fucking running somewhere. It looks a lot better. It might still be like CGI leg replacement in some points, but the color palette, the composition of the shot, the ramping and the speed, everything just makes it look a lot better. It doesn't look all clunky and bouncy and kind of like there's no weight to him at all. It looks like he's on his way somewhere. It looks like he's kind of struggling to take every step, but he's still running. It just makes a lot more sense. It looks much better. Alex Ross type image with Superman in the black suit. Looks awesome. Lightcast, shout out to Lightcast. He had an interview with Clay Enos, and he was an on-set photographer for Zack Snyder. He was kind of the first one to like really see the Alex Ross images and be inspired by that and use that for the images that he shot of the characters, and we see that in the ad campaign. They even used it for the end of one of the final trailers, I believe. Really great idea to honor Alex Ross and his work. I think it's kind of insulting that they used Zack Snyder's on-set photographer, like clearly Zack Snyder's on-set photographer, not someone from Warner Brothers that, you know, they hired for the job or anything. Like, this is someone that has worked with Zack Snyder specifically for years. So I think it's kind of insulting that they used his work for something that ended up being not Zack Snyder's work. Very cool shot. The Batwing coming up. People are like, Superman doesn't have to get in there or whatever. Yeah, because they're a team. That's the whole point of this. Flash can run wherever he wants in a millisecond. Superman can fly wherever he wants. Wonder Woman can lasso lightning wherever the fuck she's gonna go. The theme of this film is you can't save the world alone. So I think it's cool that all these characters, no matter who they are, it's them being together that really makes the difference. And Batman is instrumental in bringing all of them together.
This guy's probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets he's destroyed, right? And we have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us. Not us united.
Perfect, awesome line reading with Ben Affleck. Bruce Wayne Batman, you know, he's got the mask off because he's got this cool line, so he's got to make sure he's got his mask off and get all that camera time. But it's really just a good scene. I think Flash is a much more thought out character than what we saw in the theatrical cut. He's got kind of the same pace that you saw in the theatrical cut, but the content of what he's saying and what he's, you know, actually worried about is a lot more realistic. I was saying acting class, like, you know, be in the moment. These lines coming from Flash are very much in the moment. I think it was a great line reading from not just Ben Affleck, which is obvious, but also from Ezra Miller. Everyone here is doing an incredible job, whether you like them or not. Amber Heard. Everyone's bringing their A game. Everyone looks like they're doing a great job. Ezra Miller, some people don't like him. I think he's doing a good job here. Special effects people, Fabian Wagner as a cinematographer, really going for this aspect ratio thing that I don't know anyone else has done. Zack Snyder right now is in the middle of his battle for the title of his film. Zack Snyder's Justice League is the title he wants, and apparently he's still going for that. He said he would have it announced by Fandom, but it looks like it didn't happen. I really like Zack Snyder's Justice League for the official name of this project. I don't think the Snyder Cut really has the seriousness or the tone that really goes with the project. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League has a certain classiness to it that the other one does not. It also kind of elevates it above ridicule. I think if you call it Zack Snyder's Justice League, it definitely has a bigger impact on people that are into the fandom, but also just the general public. Apparently the struggle is that having Zack Snyder's Justice League implies that Justice League is his creation, but I think it's well understood by fans, by everyone, that he did not create the Justice League. It's just this specific version that has his ownership over it. So I think he'll be fine, but apparently he's still going through it. I think that's it. If there's anything I missed, anything you want to talk about, mention it. But that's it, man. We'll talk about more business stuff. Have a good one. This is Orion.